I'm sure most of the people listening to this, if they're remodeling their home, their kitchen is on the list. That's usually number one. That's the biggest thing that we see, the calls we get to remodel a home is the kitchen.
When in every study shows it's the number one return on your money.
Yeah.
Is the kitchen.
That's
You
right.
redo the kitchen, it's good. That number one returns your money.
Biggest bang for your buck.
Yep. All right, we are switching it up today. Vince does not want to do the intro. He wants me to do the intro because he wants you guys to feel the change up. Look at him. He's living the dream. Living the dream. What are you at? Did you just run the 100?
Yes, I feel like it.
All right. Welcome to Kitchen Design and Appliances and Building Brews and Barbecue. By the way, real quick, when's the last time we barbecued anything?
Or even had a brew. It's like, I don't know, maybe we need to change the name. No, you talk.
Welcome to building.
Welcome to building. Get your fix on. But no, we started off strong, right? We started off strong, but then we faded a little bit in terms of providing any brews or barbecue.
Yeah. Hey, I will tell the audience this though. We did do a barbecue last night of some ribeyes that were dynamite.
Listen, if I could give anybody I'm not going to call this a pro tip.
No, call it a pro tip.
This is kind of like a barbecue pro tip.
Sure.
You know, I would say with the barbecue portion of it, I am a massive fan of Lane's Barbecue out of Bethlehem, Georgia.
Yeah.
Ryan Lane owns it. He's a spectacular guy. They have some of the best rubs, sauces, you name it. So if you can go to lanesbarbecue.com, they're not a supporter of or a sponsor or anything like that.
They could be.
They could be. But I absolutely love their different marinades and rubs. And so last night we got a couple of ribeyes, thick, about 1.25 inches.
Yeah.
We also got a New York strip, also about 1 inch, 1.25 inches. So nice thick ones. And we lathered them up. First thing I did is I got Lane's Pow Pow sauce. Love it. You can use that stuff on anything. And I use that almost like you would a Worcestershire or what'd you say?
Watch Your Sister?
Watch Your Sister sauce. You know, where you go, the thick stuff, the W is the best for Watch Your Sister sauce. And I just did both sides of them. And then I used Lane's Steak Supreme. And then their AP, their all-purpose, oh gosh, I forgot the name of it. Oh, can you believe it? But their all-purpose rub, which was incredible.
Yeah, it was so good.
And so we did both sides and the ends with it, and it stuck to that Pow Pow sauce and let it sit there. And then we put it on. I've got the which I love. I know a lot of people are Traeger fans, right? And this and that, but I love Recteq. They're an unbelievable grill. They also are made here in Georgia.
Yeah.
Kind of near Augusta. So if you want to,
what's in
Augusta? I don't know. I think it's just only Recteq is the only notable
Recteq's the only notable thing. Yeah, I guess in a couple of weeks we'll find out.
Interesting. Especially because what happens in like September, October when this hits the air?
Oh.
Anyway, we're filming
podcasting.
Podcasts. But in Evans, Georgia, Recteq, and they make all their grills with high quality stainless steel. They'll last forever. Parts don't wear out. And I have their Smokestone 600. You've seen that I make breakfast on and this and that. It's the first wood-fired pellet grill, but it's not the grill. It's actually the flat top, the Smokestone. But I used their the dual fire.
Yep.
I love that because on one side you can smoke, and on the other side of the barrel, it's an indirect heat, but it'll get over 700 degrees.
When we had the lid open, it was 1,000.
It got to 1,000.
Yeah.
And so we seared those steaks. They had the crisp on the outside. They were 132 or so when we took them off. On the inside, we let them sit. They got up to about 140, 145. Perfect medium rare. It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. We didn't want any sides, but My wife forced us to have sides.
Yeah, well, we weren't going to have a wife there. Then the wife showed up, so we had green beans.
Yeah.
Had some of that stuff.
Yeah. Tater tots.
Tater tots, which were delicious.
They were delicious. But so anyway, I guess that if you say, hey, where's the barbecue series? That's it. And the 2 pro tips: go out and get yourself a Recteq, and go on to Lane's barbecue website and order you some sauces and rubs, and you are off to the races.
So you use Lane's. I use a lot of Meat Church.
Oh, that's right. You like Meat Church.
Well, yeah, he's out of Texas.
Oh,
so be it from Oklahoma, closer to me. So we use a ton of Meat Church. Also, just to bring in the bruise portion of it, we did have Miller Lites last night.
That's correct.
While we were cooking.
That's correct. It was enjoyable. It was a beautiful evening.
Yes, it was.
The stars were out. I gazed into your eyes.
The pollen was out.
The pollen was out. Again, odd to have it out this late in the year, but podcasting. Anyway,
I love
all right,
it.
what are we talking to in this episode?
We're talking about...
We're in our series, The House That Wisdom Built.
The house that Ruth built.
Yep.
Yep.
I think we're past center. We're past the midpoint.
Yeah.
In the series, So today we're talking about, which a lot of people from the design world think is the most important, and it is. It's the center of the home, right?
It is. We're talking about kitchen design and appliances. It's funny. We have a customer that is their floor plans are close to being done. We probably have 1 or 2 more passes on them. I was talking to them yesterday about getting them linked up with the interior designer, and they're like, "Okay, what is it that we need to bring? What do we need to be prepared for to bring to your interior designer?" And it's funny because, like you said, it's the most important part of the home. I said, listen, starting with your interior design, I need pictures of kitchens you like. Let's start there. The kitchen as the heart of the home. Usually, and you see this too, the kitchen kind of breeds the rest of the design through the home. Now, then you get into the master bath and you can change it, but the kitchen kind of gives how the feel of the home's going to be. So, as you said, it's the most important. It's where we start.
Yeah. And I would point out that the kitchen is the number one biggest place that we see design regrets.
Yeah. In what way?
In the way that they didn't take the time to plan it, lay out how they like to entertain, cook. Anything that has to do with the day typically starts in the kitchen. Yeah, you get up and you're in your bathroom, but that's the place where everyone wants to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the place where you're talking to your family, you're cooking, you're sharing a meal. That's like you said, the heart of the home.
Mm-hmm.
But that is where I see the biggest design regrets, because things weren't laid out properly. They didn't like the appliances they purchased.
Made it smaller than they thought they're like, oh, we don't need it that big. Reduced a little footage. Decided they didn't.
That's right. Things are wrong. Ergonomics, lighting. I mean, there's so many things that you can do wrong in the kitchen. And since that's the place you spend most of your time, and think about it, anytime someone wants to come visit you, where do they come see you? Or you have a party, where is everybody?
Yeah.
You have a dinner, where is everybody?
Yep.
I think the big kitchen is the reason why dining rooms have gone out of style.
Yeah.
But I think they're coming back. But
they are coming.
That's where I see the biggest regrets, is a poorly designed kitchen for the way you want to live and how you entertain, whether it's your family, friends, loved ones, whatever.
Agreed.
All right. I mean, if we're going to jump in and dive into kitchens, Nathan, let's talk about islands and peninsulas. What are you guys doing in your islands, or how do you lay out a kitchen?
Oh man. So we start in the planning stage with the architect, and the architect's definitely working on through how the homeowner says, listen, you asked me.
Oh.
If you do the triangle, you can talk about the triangle. Then we bring our interior designer in, and yes, our interior designer usually talks our customers through the triangle, through the workflow. Again, though, the way we have really set up our company is, man, we are executors. I am an executor. We let the interior designer, who, yes, knows way more about the workflow triangle than I do. I know about it because we build it. But we let the interior designer usually kind of work that flow with the homeowner more than us.
Gotcha. What are you still, back in the day, all the thing was the triangle.
Mm-hmm.
The kitchen triangle. Are you still seeing that as something that you take into consideration? And the kitchen triangle is that triangular pattern that goes from your refrigerator, your cooktop, in your sink,
Yep.
right? That's kind of makes the triangle. Is that still a big thing, or is that off the table?
I think it's still pretty natural, right? I think that it's still pretty natural that it flows that way, right? And I think, you're looking we definitely talk about it. I will say I think the introduction of the scullery pantry is changing a lot of kitchens. We are seeing so much of kitchens almost be show kitchens, and the work is actually happening in the big walk-through pantry in the back. We will have what we're seeing a ton of is we will have a range, and then if we have a fridge and the dishwasher in the kitchen, it's all wood paneled, right? To look like the cabinets. Like, generally speaking, in our kitchens right now, the only appliance you can visually see is our range.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's kind of that whole strategy behind the kitchen is kind of make it disappear
Yep.
with what all the people that are coming to visit you. I mean, we see that a lot in the larger homes where we've got the scullery,
Mhm.
and it used to just be, hey, maybe a vegetable sink
Yeah.
and maybe an old refrigerator,
Mhm.
right? And then the rest is basically what is a scullery? It's your pantry.
Yeah, it's a
Just
pantry. Yeah.
the scullery is a fancy name of saying we threw a couple appliances in
That's
there,
right.
right? And so it's kind of evolved from it was just the pantry with tip. It used to be wire
Yeah.
shelves, right? And then it's evolved to the pantry with some built-ins.
Full-blown cabinets
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Now it's full, and then it's full-blown cabinets. Then it was countertops in at a minimum loaded up with outlets around,
Yep.
so you can take your coffee maker, your blender, things like
Toaster,
that, toaster,
blender.
put it in there on the countertop, and it's out of the way. To now where it's getting bigger, we're seeing kitchens getting a little smaller,
Yeah.
so they can make more space for the scullery. And now we're seeing full-size appliances that match the kitchen.
Full-size ovens.
Maybe not a 48-inch, but maybe it's a 30-inch or a 36-inch.
I haven't put many cooktops in, but we're putting in dishwashers, dishwashers, refrigerators, full sinks. I mean, everything's back there, and as they're calling it, oh, that's our working kitchen, working pantry.
Yeah.
The other one's kind of, as you said, it's for show, it's for entertainment.
That's right. Yeah. And listen, I love it. And it's just, you got to remember, I always tell my customers, hey, everybody wants a scullery. Everybody loves a scullery. It'd be great to be able to do all your cooking and stuff in there and then close the door when you have people over and your kitchen's nice and clean and ready to entertain. One of the big things that I also love about a scullery, right, that has a big sink and a dishwasher, putting a dishwasher in there, is the fact that, you entertain. Nowadays, people want to hang around the kitchen. We talked about that already. Or even if you're in the dining room, yeah, you clear the table. And for a long, up until recently, all your dishes or whatever went into the sink or on the counter, and nobody wants to look at that. And the worst thing you could possibly do when you're entertaining is your people are still there, and you start cleaning dishes.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it's over. You want people to linger. You don't want to make it. So I have customers that say, I want the scullery just to be able to take all of the dishes, dump them in there on the counter, close the door. And I can still have fun with the people that are over, entertain. And it's not in anybody's mind. Because even if it's not on your mind, if you have somebody over that's what they do at home, it's going to bother them that someone is not cleaning the dishes or that they're sitting there. And so that's one of it's almost like a drop zone.
Yeah.
For
It is. It is.
after party.
It's exactly what it is. What about, though, where we're seeing a ton, and my wife had to have it drewed into our plan back in 2017, sinks in front of windows.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously we do that when we can.
Yeah.
If it looks into the backyard or front yard or what, absolutely. Especially if you have a pool.
Yeah.
If you're putting in a pool, I 100% try to urge the cabinet designer or the architect to say, let's make sure we get the sink on the outside because that's, a spot that you'll want it, right? However, what we're seeing more and more is that the range becomes the feature. And, our homeowners want a minimum 36 or 48-inch range. They don't want they'll opt for, instead of a cooktop, which is just the top, and then a separate ovens, they'll do double ovens, which is more comfortable, right? Because you open the oven, it's it's at chest level
Yep.
or there. So you've got more leverage instead of bending over with your typical big range to pull things out, right? But they want the showpiece. What is the showpiece? The showpiece is get those ovens out of your face.
It's the range in the vent hood.
It's the 48-inch range with the 2 ovens and the vent hood. And they want that against the wall as a center line in the room. And a lot of times you need to put that on the wall because a lot of people forget that those big ranges require big vent piping.
Monster.
You know, big CFMs, which is the volume of air that turns, that sucks the exhaust out. And so you put that in over that range, and you need a 48-inch wide vent hood.
Yep.
And that has a 10-inch vent duct. Well, try to run a 10-inch pipe through the joists of your house. You know, go to some other episodes and hear about open web versus TGIs, and then you'll learn, oh, gosh, this does make sense.
Yeah.
But you got to get that giant pipe out of your house, whether it's out the sidewall. And that's why most architects want to make that range wall against an outside wall and the focal, which takes the sink out of play in an outside wall with a window. And second best place to put it is in the island so you can still face your guests, your kids, or whatever.
Man, we just have seen, it's crazy. We've seen so much people, and I actually get it, fighting the island sink now because the island is kind of their breakfast table, right? Because like you're saying, hey, dining rooms are coming back. But do you know what is kind of gone is the breakfast room. The breakfast room's kind of, because these islands become oversized, people are there. I'm seeing so many of our customers be like, I really don't want the sink there because this is where we do 90% of our eating.
Yeah.
Is at this island. And we don't, same as you're saying, we don't want to look at our dirty dishes. So it's a real conundrum because you only have so many walls.
Yeah.
You only have so many walls to like try to put these things on. But and it's funny, in our market, we're seeing a lot of people fight the island sink.
Yeah.
Which was huge forever.
That's right. And are you finding that, do you ask your customers and, and for our listeners, you need to ask yourself that question if you're designing a home or remodeling. One of the biggest, I'm sure most of the people listening to this, if they're remodeling their home, their kitchen is on the list. That's usually number one. That's the biggest thing that we see, the calls we get to remodel a home is the kitchen.
Well, in every study shows it's the number one return on your money. Is the kitchen. You redo the kitchen, it's good. That number one returns your money.
Biggest bang for your buck.
Yep.
Yeah. And I believe that. So are you asking your customers, hey, how long you plan to live in this home?
We do.
Like we ask them that.
We do.
Because we got to really contemplate aging in place and how appliances work.
Yep. It's really big. It's really big for us on, hey, how we design this is going to be completely different. If you think you're going to be here for 7 years and beyond, listen, let's do what you want. If you think you're going to be here for less than that, and you're going to be moving on, we need to design this with resell in mind, and things like that. So yes, we're very big on, hey, let's not over customize something or do something like that. So yes, we're very big on asking that.
Yeah. One thing that I always have to level set a homeowner, or if we're renovating for them, is, if you do opt for a large range, and if you're renovating your home, we've got to ask the air conditioning company, the HVAC company, about a makeup air kit.
Yeah, makeup air. Yep.
And what is a makeup air kit? Well, simple, right? That makeup air kit. So you're remodeling your kitchen. You decide to get a big range, which requires a bigger vent hood, bigger vent,
more CM.
More CFM, so it's got to be more powerful. But what is a CFM? Well, it's taking the air and it's sucking the exhaust out. It's a bigger surface area, so it requires a bigger fan to suck more out of that 10-inch pipe. But that's also pulling the air out of that room, and so you have to have what's called replacement air, i.e., the makeup air kit. And what that is, it's a device that mounts to. It's like a damper system that mounts to the hood vent up inside the pipe, the 10-inch pipe, that when it's a sensor that says, okay, this turned on, so now this wire then has to go all the way through your house to your HVAC unit. So remember, you're going to have more demo, more things like that, more cost. I think those makeup air kits, even on a brand new house, are $400 or $500.
They are. Yep.
But in a reno, it's more because you got to run that line back down your HVAC, and you got to make sure that HVAC can turn enough to replenish the air in that room quickly. It has to balance, or else you start to get, if you don't have one of these, here's what happens, right? If you don't have a makeup air kit, and what happens is that fan turns on, it immediately turns on the HVAC system that might be off. It turns it on and it turns on the fan and pumps air back into that room to replace that air, to make up air. It's making up the air that's now being pulled out. Because if not, the sure sign and sure way to tell if you have a makeup air that's not working is go ahead and turn on that vent over your range and see if it starts to shut doors in the rest of the house. It's sucking the air,
which pulls the door shut. Yep, that's right.
That's one thing I'd say. Make sure you're taking it into consideration when you're doing that.
Something you put on the list, which is always great to talk about: soft close.
Drawers,
doors,
for all of those that slam. So soft close is huge. How about, I know you touched on a little bit earlier, you got panel ready or stainless steel appliances. What are the pros and cons of each?
Man, for us, it's really design of the home. We've been doing so much European traditional classic, and stainless steel doesn't fit that, right? And so we have been doing so much panel ready and hiding the fridges and hiding the things. But again, it's another piece of wood with paint on it, okay, that's going to wear. It's got a handle that is screwed into it that at some point, may get loose over time.
And you're yanking on those because of the suction.
Because to where your stainless steel lasts. It lasts, but really for us with the kitchens, sometimes pragmatic gets thrown out the window, and it's really what fits the design.
Yeah. And people think that, I can get the panel ready refrigerator for the same price as the stainless steel. Well, those panels
can't
get really expensive.
Yep, because it's the certain brands don't even make panel ready fridges, right? So you have to if you're getting into panel ready refrigeration, you're usually stepping up into a more expensive brand of appliance.
Interesting. I got an interesting question for you.
Oh, for me, I probably can't answer. It's probably going to be something too hard for me.
Pot fillers.
Yep.
Awesome or overrated?
Generally for looks only.
So overrated.
I think they're overrated unless I ask my customers, do you cook? Do you legitimately cook? If you legitimately cook, the pot filler, and if it is a sink on a window, not an island sink, because usually the island's directly behind the range. Okay, you really don't. I mean, yes, a pot filler is cool. You can also just turn around and fill it up in the sink. But if the sink is opposite and you cook, a pot filler is good. I usually think it's like a necklace. It's a piece of jewelry that you put on that rarely gets used.
Yeah. I'm in the camp of it being overrated.
Yeah.
It's an expensive. You've got the plumbing fee. You've got those fillers are expensive.
We tell people I think they're shocked. We're like, it's $1,500.
Yeah, it is.
They're like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, your ground plumbing, your top out plumbing, the fixture itself, installing the fixture. You're going to spend $1,500.
The tile guy or the stone to go behind it. And I honestly think that people are starting to spend more and more money on their backsplash in their kitchen.
Oh, so much.
We're seeing the trend going away from tile to full slabs. Your countertop looks like it goes up the wall, and then we're doing a special detail. If we've got it like the range wall, we're doing a special detail on it. And you put a pot filler on there because they're on an arm that pulls out.
Yeah.
Right. So they never look centered, because they're always all off kilter because of the way the arm is, right? And so a lot of times it throws off. You're drawing your eye to a filler, and that's what we always tell them. Hey, if you're going to spend all this money to have the really like a beautiful marble backsplash or some kind of solid stone backsplash, if you're not truly, like you said, going to use this pot filler, all it's going to do is take away from the money you spent and the simplicity and the cleanness of your backsplash.
Agreed. For me, it's legitimately, do you cook? Because we have some people that legitimately cook a lot. Okay, this may make sense. It's in the area. It's easy to do. Look, if you're not using your kitchen a bunch to cook and cooking stuff that needs big, pots full of water, not worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
in my opinion.
Are you taking your tile or your backsplashes only up under the cabinets, or are you going around the cabinets now to the ceiling?
So much of it's to the ceiling.
Gotcha. That's yeah, we're seeing that more
So
too.
much
So
of it's to the
budget
ceiling.
for tile or stone that goes to the ceiling where possible.
Yes.
Yeah, and then outlets. You know, it's code to have outlets
Yep.
in the backsplash.
Yep.
Right, but that looks horrible in a piece of stone.
So we really attempt for us to get the plug strips that can mount underneath the overhead cabinets there.
Yeah.
If we can't do that, we look into pop-ups.
Uh,
Okay? But so the customer knows, sometimes if you're in a tighter kitchen, life is what it is.
yeah.
And the best thing you can do is try to get the sleekest plugs you can get. And like you talked about, the circle plugs that you can buy different covers for them to where they can blend a little better. Because we've run into issues to where we have window,
Mm-hmm.
okay, can't get the plugs in. Then we went to put pop-ups in, the dishwasher was in the way. Because then you were trying to get the pop-up to
and they're big. They're big.
they're
underneath.
big, and we had so much trouble. And so sometimes sometimes you're left without a choice if you run out of room, but we really work hard to try to keep as much out as we
Yeah,
can.
same here. We'll do the plug molds, they call it, but it's the plug strips underneath the cabinet. But the key is we have to tell our cabinet maker if you're going to do custom. If not, if you're going to order cabinets, make sure you order a light rail,
Yep.
which is a piece of trim that adds to the bottom to get that depth behind it to be thicker up underneath, so it hides the side profile of that
right.
plug. So that's something to think about. And if we can't get it there, we haven't done pop-ups that much. We've done a few.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do windows, what we do is we make that wall behind the range a 2x6 where possible. And what we'll do is, what does that do for a window? It gives you a wider jamb,
Yeah.
a deeper, I should say,
Oh, you put the
jamb.
plug in the jam?
And then we put the sill light, because that's what it was meant for. It was for putting, those sill lights were originally designed for homes in the Northeast,
Yeah.
where at Christmas time, everybody always liked to have the candle in the window.
Okay.
That was old rage in New England and stuff back in the early days. And what they switched to over the years is it got dangerous. People were burning their houses down with the candles. You had to keep them lit. So they switched to these sill lights, i.e. sill lights, that would go on the windowsill, and they made candles that had a plug on the end, and it would just plug into the sill light. And so they'd center them up. And then they got smart. They made them more GFI, so they're protected. And so now we've been using them in the side of cabinets or areas where they're sleek.
Yep.
But we use the same idea. We make it a 2x6 wall, put the sill light in the sill of the window, and paint the cover of the window, and it disappears and it meets code next to the range.
Next to the
If we can't do that, like let's say the wall is too long, we can only do a 2x4 or whatever, we'll then have the cabinet company maybe design into the cabinet a front face that's wider, because those sill lights, you have to drill an 1 3/4 hole, and then the cap around it totals out to 2 inches in diameter. So they're sleek, but that's still wide.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll have the cabinet company maybe make a pretty detail next to the range where it's like a pilaster, and then we'll put it in there. So we'll sometimes put it in the front of the cabinets, because you can't get away with code with putting them inside a cabinet drawer.
Nope.
That doesn't meet
Doesn't
it.
meet it.
And you can't go too high, or it doesn't meet it.
How about this? Have you seen, which I find hilarious, have you seen that we used to not have plugs and islands? Then it became code to put plugs and islands. Have you seen the new code?
Yeah, I heard they're gone again.
No plugs and islands.
Isn't that wild?
It's wild.
And but now that people have had it, I just spoke with a customer and said, "Hey, we no longer need the plug in the island." And they looked at me and said, "I want the plug."
They want the
island."
plug. Yeah,
I know. It's like,
because it's usually where crock pots sit and plug in. But yeah, they're taking
or phones.
Yeah, or phones. Oh, hey, did you see it at the builder show? Did you go into, was it Cosentino? I think it was, to where now it's real easy to run power underneath.
Yeah.
And on the stone, you just set your phone on the stone and it charges.
Yeah, my countertop installer fabricator has those, and that's what she does. Is she takes that section and she just thins out the stone in that one section and stabilizes it, and that outlet goes underneath the island, and you slide, and it lights up in a circle.
Lights up in a circle. It was the craziest thing.
And she said, which is cool, is you don't have to tell, if you don't want somebody to charge their phone, don't tell them where it is, because when it's off, you don't see it.
Yeah.
It's no markings.
It was wild. I think it's awesome. I also find it not awesome. Like, we're in the generation now to where you're at your friend's house and you have to have your phone on their island so it'll charge. I think that's wild. But I also think that what an awesome idea.
Yeah. What about warming drawers?
Man, I loved them. Put one in my house and it never got used, really. It never really got used. I think I'll tell you what we use the most of back in the sculleries, because we have 4 kids, are the refrigerator drawers.
Ah, refrigerator.
Yeah, we love
You
using
like those. They're expensive as can be.
They are, but we enjoy the heck out of refrigerator drawers or freezer drawers back there that we can put all the kids' stuff in and all of that stuff. That's super enjoyable. I always like the warming drawer. I like the
I
idea
like
of
it.
it.
We have to. Well, and it's funny, I had a customer, and I don't even, and I looked, and they, the manufacturer said that, no, nothing can catch fire. But we actually put a warming drawer in their closet, their primary closet,
What's he warming in there?
clothes. They liked warm towels, clothes. So in the winter, you turn on that warming drawer on low, and you can warm up underwear, socks. Yeah. I'm not kidding with you, dude. It was wild.
Dude, warm socks.
Yeah. And they also like, warm floors and stuff
What are you
like
gonna do
that.
with warm socks?
Man, it's gotta be
Sweat?
Oh, it's enjoyable. Think about it, in winter. You kidding me?
No, I need freezing cold
Yeah,
floors.
towels, a nice warm towel you get out of the shower.
No,
I mean, they make towel warmers that mount on the walls
my towel.
that you got to pre-plan for.
I want my towel cold too.
Yeah.
All you people are cold.
Yeah, people are cold nowadays. It's a different world. It's a changing world. So, all right, so that kills that. What about built-in coffee systems?
Yep. Tons of built-in coffee systems. What's funny is we don't do as much with the water tapped into it, because what I have heard from real coffee connoisseurs is that tap water is not the best water to make your coffee with. They want filtered water, or, out of a Berkey or something like that. So a lot of the coffee makers we do not tap in the water. So, which makes it easier,
Yeah.
because then all we have to do is have electric and
That's right.
put it in, and it's no big deal. So a lot of that. But even if it's not a coffee maker, well, we see a bunch of our coffee stations. Even if we're not putting in a Thermador or a Bosch coffee maker, we are making coffee stations to where the drawer, you pull out the drawer that's underneath, and it's got the K-cup areas that you can put in, and everything can be organized, and it's pretty, and you keep the coffee pot out or the espresso machine out, those kind of things. So we do a lot of that design of like dedicated spaces for coffee.
Gotcha. And that makes a lot of sense. I love the built-in coffee. They're expensive.
Yeah.
$3 to $4 grand.
Yeah.
They're crazy. And they take maintenance, like you said. You got to
I mean,
descale them. You've got to
$3 to $4 grand's a lot, unless you're spending $8 a day on coffee.
Well, that's true.
Because you're saving that money if you keep this thing at the house.
Yeah, that's true. What about one of the big things I like to install? Like if I have a customer that's cost conscious, and they can't get those built-in appliances like that, what we'll do is we'll just put them behind doors. We'll do outlets. We call them appliance garages.
Yeah, appliance garages.
Right? Where we make the cabinetry deep.
Yep.
Like the 24 inches that matches the below. And we'll still have shelves in there, but we'll space the shelves accordingly and do thicker shelves so they're stronger. And we'll add outlets inside, and they can do their microwave in there.
Yep.
They can do their coffee maker in there. They might have the Jura, which is my favorite coffee maker, in there. And it's out of the way. They close the door, so you still get a nice sleek look, not have to have a scullery, and still, do it in a normal size kitchen.
Speaking of microwaves, you do a lot of them?
No.
Us either. I basically have taken them out in our spec homes. I put a dedicated plug somewhere in the pantry and say, hey, if you need a microwave, run to Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever and get yourself a microwave. But man, we do not do a lot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we do. Custom wise, if someone kind of wants a microwave, we'll do a lot of those GE Monogram 5-speed ovens that have it can be a convectional oven. It can be a one with do a steam oven. You can also do like a microwave. We'll do a lot of those, but we pretty much have gotten away from microwaves.
Yeah. I urge people to really research the appliances. They're changing more and more. I know I was just up at Wolf Sub-Zero in Wisconsin, and it's insane what they're doing with smart, I mean, it basically will run the recipe for you.
Yeah.
but they're getting to a point where, it makes sense to upgrade appliances even in an older home just because they're getting so smart. They're almost becoming foolproof to burn a meal, which is incredible.
Also, fridges with cameras in them
Ah,
that are seeing what's getting taken out of the fridge and can talk directly to, your Instacart, things like
yeah,
that's happening. I don't know how much I love that. I don't
Oof.
need my wife knowing how many Miller Lights I get out of the fridge,
Yeah,
you know?
big brother.
Yeah.
The last thing I would talk about and just pieces and parts in the kitchen are toe kick vacuums.
Oh,
That was pretty big for a little while. I don't see nobody's asking for them now,
I don't think they
but
think about them.
yeah,
Those things are awesome. Put it in the island in your kitchen, then you can sweep and just zoop.
zoop, it goes right in, and it could either go to a centralized
Yep.
canister or the one I had. We have a couple in my house. We have one in the pet room, one in the kitchen, and it's nice. But they have their own integrated bag,
Yeah.
you know, that you have to buy. Um, what are we forgetting? How about flooring? I mean, we'll get into the flooring in the next episode, but kitchens, are you doing more tile or wood in
Wood.
kitchens, and why?
'Cause that's what everybody wants.
That's what they want.
Yep.
Well, what I hear is, yeah, they want wood because the tile or any other type of flooring is so hard on their knees, and you're always moving around and standing in the kitchen more than other rooms, and so fatigue on your knees.
Why are you so old?
Because I mean, this is what happens. No, I'm not getting old. I'm just thinking about my customer.
Oh, okay.
How dare you?
No, we're seeing on the design side with designers and everything, we're seeing way more wood in kitchens than, and especially with, I know you use the same product too, because you use it here due to the humidity, but especially with the fact that we're not using 3/4 plywood, nail down wood anymore. We're using, it's still site finished, but it's glued down. So it's way more water resistant, right? It's not waterproof, but it's more water resistant. So people are way more comfortable putting that product in their kitchen.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
So,
Dishwasher on the right.
okay. So you talk to your customers about
Yep. I ask every customer, I'm like, are you right or left-handed? You want the dishwasher on the right, trash can on the left.
that's right, just because it's comfort.
Yep.
It's I always call it the unconscious thinking of it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what a good builder, that is guiding their homeowner
Mhm.
and trying to make them the hero in their story. The way that they become the hero is having a seamless day,
Mhm.
that they're not having to even unconsciously remember, think, or deal with something, and that's how you make your customer your hero in an ordinary home feel great.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, right? How do we design this kitchen? How do we make it so seamless that it just feels right?
You're my hero.
Thank you. You make me feel right. With that being said, why don't you take us out? What do we need these folks to do?
Oh, I got to take them out. I did the intro.
Yeah, well, I do the intros and the exits, and you do the intro, you do the exits,
Because you're the,
and you're gonna do the next one, Dad.
no. Like and subscribe, please, on all the channels, Spotify, YouTube,
Oh, good.
wherever else you can watch.
Apple podcast.
Apple, I guess. Whatever you want to do as a customer,
or
wherever you watch or listen. Most of you are listening, but you should watch because we look good. In my opinion. But like and subscribe, and we really appreciate you being along. We hope you're getting some pro tips, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.